Welcome back to Theek TV, the class of science, plants lesson 3. So before we start today's lesson, I like to remind you to subscribe, like, please click the bell so that you'll be getting the daily updates in the class of science. So today we are going to talk about dichotomous key. As we finalize on classification of plants, we will finalize by talking about dichotomous key. So we want to look at what is this dichotomous key. Now we are talking about dichotomous key in plant section. When it comes to animal section, we'll also talk about dichotomous key in animal section. So today we'll focus on dichotomous key in plant section. So dichotomous key in plants identification. So what is a dichotomous key? Dichotomous key is a biological tool used for identifying a non-organism up to some taxonomic level. So we say that plants are, remember, plants are parts of organism. So plants are classified according to kingdom, division, subdivision, and classes. So we are able to classify or identify organism using a dichotomous key. So the word dichotomous means separating or branching into two. The word dichotomous, it is branching or separating into two. Now, this key is constructed as a series of couplets, each consisting of two contrasting statements describing characteristics of a particular organism in question. Now, these two contrasting statement simply tries to do, to use those features to classify this organism basing on the characteristics. So the choices are based on observable features, observable characteristics of the plant. We first classify organism basing on observable characteristics. So the features, the common features used to classify organism under this dichotomous key or using dichotomous key is we look at the observable features of those plants or of the plant in question. Now, what is the importance of dichotomous key? What is the importance of these keys in biological study? Now, number one, identification. This key helps the learner or any scientist to identify the organism. So helps in identifying unknown plants or organism using observable features. Number two, simplifies classification. So using this key, you're able to simplify the process of classification of plants. So organizes plants into smaller, more specific groups based on key traits. So you are able to classify this organism of the same features into the same group by using the observable characteristics. Field use provides a practical way for students, researchers, or nature enthusiasts to identify plants in their natural habitat. Structure of a dichotomous key. Now let's look at the structure of a dichotomous key. What is it made of? Now the key is arranged as a series of steps. Each step contains two contrasting statements, hence the term dichotomous. Why? It contains two contrasting statements describing characteristics of the plant. The user selects the statement that applies to their specimen and follows the instructions to the next step. So from the first part, from the first section, you start by selecting the features, the statement that describe well the organism in question. The statement that describe well organism in question. Eventually, the user will be directed to the correct plant identification. So once you choose that, for example, maybe you are talking about a leaf, you've realized a characteristic of your leaf, you'll go to the first part of the key, you select. That line will give you the next step to move. Now, what are the characteristics used in dichotomous key? What are some of the features that are considered when using dichotomous key to classify organism or to identify organism? Now, when using a dichotomous key to identify plants, focus on the following traits. 1, leaf characteristics. We look at the characteristic of the leaf. And what are the common characteristics of the leaf? We look at the shape of the leaf. Simple, maybe compound, needle-like, or broad. Arrangement of the leaf. And the arrangement of the leaf here we look at alternate, opposite, or whorled on the stem. So arrangement of the leaf on the stem. So leaves are either arranged alternate, either opposite, whorled. Vein patterns. The vein patterns here now we look at parallel, e.g. in monocots, or branched or netted or network venation, e.g. dichots, dichots. We also look at leaf margins. Leaf margins here we talk about either smooth, either a leaf has got what we call smooth margin, we have serrated margin, we have looped margin, or wavy margin. Stems, that's a characteristic number 2. Stem characteristics, or characteristics of the stem. Stem either woody or herbaceous. So plants with hard stems are woody plants, like trees. Plants with soft stems, like grasses, we say herbaceous stem. Growth form. How do they grow? Climbing. Are they climbers? Or climbing. Trailing. Upright, like wood, or prostrate. That is also another characteristic. Now, characteristic number 3, look at flower, features of the flower, or characteristics of the flower. Here we look at number of petals. Identify whether petals are distinct, fused, or absent. Distinct, fused, or absent. Flower symmetry, radial symmetry, e.g. for example, can say sunflower, or bilateral symmetry, e.g. the orchid. Number 4, another characteristic, you have fruit. Here we look at the type of fruit. Fleshy fruits like berries, dry fruit like nuts, or pods. Either fleshy fruits like berries, or dry fruits like nuts or pods. Other features, apart from those ones, so other features that we may look at when using the dichotomous key is presence or absence of spines or thorns. Number 5, presence or absence of spines or thorns. We look at, is that plant has got thorns, either has thorns or no thorns. So present, thorns are present or thorns are absent. Spines are present or spines are absent. Texture of the leaf surface. The texture of the leaf surface. You look at the texture. The texture is either smooth, hairy, or waxy. Texture of the leaf surface. We have plants that have got the leaves are smooth, others hairy, others are waxy. So you can see that's a simple structure of part of a leaf. We have the leaf. This is what we call the leaf base. The main stalk, the leaf base, which is this place here under the main stalk. The leaf base, this is the place, the leaf base. You have the axil, which is the main stalk. You have the axle is the petiole, the area where the axle is a joint where the petiole join with the stem. The petiole join with the stem. That point is what we call the axle or the axle. We have the venules here. The venules, this dictates the venation. The venules, the leaf blade, the whole of this part here is the leaf blade. You have the tip, you have the margin, then the line running from the petiole to the tip of the leaf is what we call the midrib. What we call the midrib. That's a part of a leaf. Now we have can see also these are simple leaf. These are simple leaf here. These are just some of the observable features that we use to classify a dichotomous key in its respective class. So we use this to classify or to identify a certain plant using dichotomous key. Using a dichotomous key. So we have the leaf there. This is an example of a simple leaf here. We have what we call the tip. This tip is also known as the apex. We have the midrib, the margin, the veins, the lamina, that flat surface of the leaf. Then we have the petiole. Types of compound leaves here. If you look at here, we have the trifoliate. Tri means three. We have the palmate, the palm of your hand. So the palmate, the leaves are arranged in a way that they form what we call the palm, the palmate. So we have so you can also say the palmate, not palmate, but palmate. We have the pinnate, where several leaves are connected by a single stalk. We have the bipinnate. We have substalks connected to one main stalk. So several leaves are connected to substalk. That substalk is connects to one main stalk or stem. The bipinnate, you can see that. The phyllotaxy here is the arrangement of leaves or leaf arrangement. For example, we have the alternate. In this case, we can see the alternate. These leaves are alternating on the main stalk. The alternate. We have what's called the whorled. This is the whorled. You can see how the leaves are arranged. We have opposite. The leaves are opposite. They face each other. So they are opposite. They are opposite. So that is a phyllotaxy or the leaf arrangement. So you can see some of the features there of the plants. So we look at, you have the thorns. You can see that cacti, the cactus has thorns. You have needle leaves or needle-like leaves. You can see those are some of the features. We look at the observable. Observable means something that you can see with your naked eyes, something that you can see. The needle-like leaves, you can see that. The network veins, you can see that in that leaf. The parallel veins, you can see that in that photograph there, parallel leaf. You can see the fibrous root. You can see the taproot. So basically, in this section here, or dichotomous key, we use the observable features. For example, if you observe the root of a plant is either fibrous, taproot, it may be proproot. So we use the observable features. We use what we call the observable features. Now, guidelines for using a dichotomous key. What should you consider when using dichotomous key? One, you should consider, you should be observant. So observe carefully. Examine the plant closely, taking note of characteristics such as the leaves, stem, and flowers. So you should examine, you should observe that particular plant carefully and note some of the observable features of that plant. You can look at the structure of the leaf, you can look at the structure of the stem, you can look at how the flowers is in terms of maybe texture, in terms of maybe for example, like leaves, you look at which the venation, you look at the margin, Yes, those are some of the apex. Is it the shape of the margin and whatever? So you should look at those features, so you note down, so you be observant. Number 2, start from the first pair of choices. Always begin from the first set of options provided in the key. The first, if you're talking about maybe you are identifying a plant species using leaves, maybe the leaf may be a compound or the leaf may be a simple leaf. So you start from the first set of options provided. Number 3, follow the key step by step. Make decision based on observable features and proceed to the next set of alternatives. So you make a decision from the set given, from the features given, or from the set given. You make a decision basing on the features of a plant that you have or a plant that you want to identify. Be precise in your observation. Small details can make a difference in proper identification. So you should be precise. Any small difference can make a proper identification. Repeat if necessary. If you reach an incorrect identification, review your choices to ensure you selected the right alternatives. You selected the right alternatives. Now, types of dichotomous key. We have two major types of dichotomous key. We have written or indented key, the most common type, where each choice is followed by a number leading to the next step. 2, have graphical key, presented in a tree-like branching diagram. Presented in a tree-like branching diagram. So let's look at an example of a question here. So using the leaves in the figure and the key below, identify the plant from which the leaves were obtained. So let's look at the leaves you are given here. We have leaf A, we have leaf C, leaf B, leaf D, leaf E. Now, if you look at these leaves, let's start with leaf A. Look at leaf A. You can look at the margin of leaf A. You can look at the blade. You can look at the type of stalk or petiole that it has. Look at leaf B. Look at leaf C. If you look at leaf A, these are simple leaf, and leaf A and B, these are simple leaves. Leaf, because they are only single leaves. Leaf C, D, and E, these are compound leaves, several leaves on one stalk, or several leaves join the stalks. So these are compound leaves. Now let's identify these. Let's identify these leaves using the knowledge we've learned there. Now let's identify leaf A. Leaf A. This leaf A is a single leaf, so it is a simple leaf. So leaf simple, that is 1A. The choices here. So in this key, you'll be always given what called choices. We have 1A, 1B, because it gives what called two contrasting alternatives. So we have leaf. We have 1A, 1B. 1A leaf simple, 1B leaf compound. So, and it gives the direction. Now let's look at leaf A. Leaf A, we've realized that it's a simple leaf. So 1A leaf simple, it directs us to go to 2. We have two options. We have two options here, A and B. A, leaf blade lobed. You look at your leaf. If the leaf blade lobed, B, leaf blade not lobed. But in our case, the leaf blade is lobed. Therefore, does that give us an identity? Yes, it gives us Bohania. So the steps here, 1A, 2A. We get our identity as Bohania. So this is a leaf from what we call Bohania. Let's look at B. B also, as we said, is a leaf simple. So 1A, go to 2. Now, when you go to 2, from the choices given here, leaf blade lobed. Is that B, leaf blade lobed? No. Therefore, leaf blade not lobed. So that is 1A, 2B. Identity, mango. So that's a mango leaf. Let's go to C, leaf C. Leaf C in this case, if you look at leaf C, it has very many leaves on the same stalk, so it is a compound leaf. So if it is a compound leaf, 1B, leaf compound, go to 3. 3, you have two options here. 3A, leaflets all attached to one leaf stalk. You look at now, the leaflets attached to one leaf stalk. B, leaflets attached to many small stalks which join the main stalk. Now if you look at C, leaflets attached to one leaf stalk. So that means that our steps here, does it give identity first? Yes, cassia. It gives identity, the cassia. So that is 1B, leaf compound, go to 3A. So 1B, 3A, the cassia. So that is the identity. Let's look at leaf D. Let's look at leaf D. Leaf D in this case, if you look at this first, is a compound leaf, so that's automatically 1B, a compound leaf. 1B, go to 3. Let's go to 3. 3A, no, we remove that option because this one, it has leaves are attached to very many stalks which are joined together with the one main stalk. So that is 3B, leaflets attached to many small stalks which join the main stalk. Go to 4. Let's go to 4. 4, the two choices are leaflets rounded at apex, leaflets jointed at apex. Jointed at apex. Now if you look at that, this one, leaflet rounded, if you look at those leaflets very well, they are rounded, so that is 4A. So the steps here, we have 1B, 3B, 4A. Identity, flamboyant. Let's look at 2 leaf E. Let's go to leaf E. Leaf E is a compound, 1B, go to 3B, leaflets attached to many small stalks which join the main stalk, go to 4, leaflets jointed at apex. So that is 1, that is 1B, 3B, 4B. Identity, jacaranda. Identity, jacaranda. Now, graphical key uses a branching tree diagram to show the steps, making it easy to visualize the identification, but in this case we'll focus on the first one, the written. Now, benefits of a dichotomous key in biology studies. What is the benefit of dichotomous key? Develops analytical skills. So it encourages detailed observations and critical thinking. By use of that, the dichotomous key, it encourages what you call detailed observation. So it requires you to think, it requires you to analyze, it requires you to think critically. Therefore, it encourages detailed observation and critical thinking. 2, enhances knowledge of taxonomy. So for you to be able to use that dichotomous key well, you must have knowledge from taxonomy. So you must have studied taxonomy very well. You must have studied the classification and taxonomy. This is what we call the classification, how to classify organism. And remember, we classify organism basing on their characteristics. Now, where we put organism with the similar features in the same group. Aids in field work. Useful in the identification of local plant species during biology practicals or field work. Those are the benefits of a dichotomous key or advantages of a dichotomous key. Challenges in using a dichotomous key. What are some of the challenges you may encounter, or what are the limitations of this dichotomous key? Requires accuracy. Misinterpreting a characteristic can lead to incorrect identification. If you misinterpret any characteristics, it will lead to what we call incorrect identification. 2, variation in plant species. Some species may show variation in traits, making them difficult to identify using a standard key. So this is a world of variation. Variation takes place daily, where organism varies from each other. So that can also contribute to limitation of this dichotomous key, since these traits may make it difficult to identify using the standard key. Environmental factors. Plants growing in different environments may exhibit slightly different characteristics. May exhibit that depending on the environment, the factors in the environment, limit to what you call the features. Some features are not well expressed in plants that grow in harsh and favorable environment. So now, in conclusion, you can say a dichotomous key is an essential tool in plant taxonomy and identification. Mastering its use helps students enhance their fieldwork skills and deepen their understanding of plant biodiversity. With practice, students can quickly identify plant by following logical steps based on observable features. So you realize that for example, when we've been focusing on what called kingdom plantae, you realize that all the classification we've been doing here, we classify basing on the features, and that's why we are looking at in every step we look at the characteristics of that particular species, the characteristics of that particular plant, because organisms are classified in groups basing on their characteristics. So this dichotomous key is essential. If you know taxonomy, if you know characteristics of organism, you will be able to identify the organism using dichotomous key. So that marks the end of classification in plants. Next time we meet, we'll talk about nutrition in plants. We'll talk about nutrition in plants. So we are going to cover this section of plants until the end. So the nutrition in plants. After we'll finish out with plants, now we'll move to the next thing, which is the animals. So we start from classification of animals to the end. So continue following up. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like and press the bell so that you'll be getting daily updates on lessons, and as you follow up lesson, especially to the student who are preparing to do exam, who are preparing to do their national exam. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.